Tonight on NewsWatch, the healthcare rollout heads to Capitol Hill. What those behind the website told Congress about the technical issues.
Plus, investigating the IRS. A look at the lack of backlash after the agency targeted conservative groups.
And shoes that are stylish and comfortable. The good news that could help your aching feet. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill held the first hearings on the Obamacare website rollout. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. The healthcare.gov site has been plagued with problems since the day it was launched. Now politicians want some answers. George Thomas has been following the story and joins us now from our newsroom with more. George.
Yeah, that's right, Wendy. In a series of hearings beginning today, lawmakers on both sides of the political aisle, well, they just want to know what led to the massive technical glitches with the website. Because as one House Republican leader put it, the Obamacare rollout has been nothing short of a debacle.
Do you swear that the testimony you are...
The finger-pointing started the moment the hearings came to order.
We were promised a website where people could easily compare plans and costs. $500 million later, we find the American public have been dumped with the ultimate cash for clunkers, except they had to pay the cash and still got the clunker.
Democrats on the committee acknowledged the website problems.
And we want to know what is wrong with the website and how we can help fix it.
But accused Republicans of using the hearings for ulterior motives.
I'd like to think that somehow this hearing is above board and legitimate, but it's not. The Republicans don't have clean hands coming here. Their effort obviously isn't to make this better, but to use the website and the glitches as an excuse to defund or repeal Obamacare.
The fact remains 3 weeks after the launch, people are still having trouble creating accounts and getting accurate insurance estimates.
After the launch, healthcare.gov was inundated by many more consumers than anticipated. Many of the critical components developed by these multiple vendors were overwhelmed.
An unnamed source tells CNN that the nation's top health insurers knew there were big technical problems prior to the launch. It's clear the folks working on this in the administration gave a far rosier picture to the people in the White House. An insider told CNN no one wanted to go to the White House and say to the president that your signature legislative achievement may not go so well. Still, the executives of the companies that built the site testified that their own internal testing worked, but admitted more system checks should have been done before the launch. One contractor said the government's last-minute decision to require consumers to register before shopping for insurance plans contributed to the initial breakdown.
This may have driven higher simultaneous usage of the registration system that wouldn't have otherwise occurred if consumers could window shop anonymously.
The panel assured lawmakers the site is improving every day.
From our perspective, it's as painful as it sounds. I know that the experience has been a difficult experience. The system is working. People are enrolling, but people will be able to enroll at a faster pace.
By the way, the head of Human Health and Services, Kathleen Sebelius, was invited to speak at today's House congressional hearings, but she will instead testify next week. Wendy?
Well, George, after this whole rollout disaster, the Obama administration has decided to give Americans a little more time to purchase insurance before facing those penalties for not doing so. But they say it's not because of the website glitches. Why the extra time then?
Well, Wendy, the enrollment deadline has been pushed back to March 31st. That gives folks an extra 6 weeks to sign up without facing a fine. And the White House says they're doing this to help clear up any confusion over the timing of the new health care measure, not because of the technical glitches.
All right, George Thomas, thanks so much for your reports.
You're welcome.
It's not just problems here at home the White House is dealing with. Overseas, the damage from America's massive spying program continues to pile up. Now the German Foreign Ministry has summoned the U.S. ambassador. That after reports American intelligence may have targeted Chancellor Angela Merkel's cell phone. Caitlin Burke has the story.
The U.S. has a lot of explaining to do. German officials say they received information that Chancellor Angela Merkel's cell phone may have been monitored by American intelligence. Now they've called in the U.S. ambassador to explain why one of America's closest allies is being treated like an enemy. President Obama is personally dealing with the fallout.
All I can tell you is what the president told the chancellor. The United States is not monitoring and will not monitor the communications of the chancellor.
Although White House Press Secretary Jay Carney said the U.S. is not monitoring and will not monitor, he did not say the U.S. had never monitored Merkel's communications. Merkel reportedly told Obama it would be a serious breach of trust if the allegations were confirmed. And it's not just Germany, Mexico, and Brazil that are launching investigations into the U.S. spy programs. France, one of America's oldest allies, is also upset. Its government demanded an explanation from the U.S. ambassador after reports surfaced that the NSA collected more than 70 million French telephone records over a 30-day period. The Obama administration has rejected some of those allegations and keeps insisting it's working to strike a balance between security and privacy.
Protecting the security of our citizens in today's world is a very complicated, very challenging task. We in the United States are currently reviewing the way that we gather intelligence.
But the damage from the revelations of former NSA employee Edward Snowden continue to mount. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
The European Union is in the process of drafting tough new data privacy rules. They would restrict information collected in Europe and shared with non-EU countries, as well as allow EU citizens to request that their digital traces be erased. They also would impose fines of 100 million euros for anyone who breaks the rules.
While Washington has been focused on other issues, some people are still trying to find out what the IRS was doing when it targeted Tea Party groups. The scandal has led to some investigations, but so far, not much is known. John Jessup brings us this report from Washington.
When the IRS scandal first broke, Republicans and Democrats cried foul.
If you've got the IRS operating in anything less than a neutral and nonpartisan way, then that is outrageous.
My question isn't about who's going to resign. My question is, who's going to jail?
But now, months later, the outcry sounds more like a whimper. Eliana Johnson has been tracking the IRS scandal for the conservative website and magazine National Review. She tells CBN News 5 months after the IRS admitted targeting conservative groups for extra scrutiny on their applications for tax-exempt status, and despite the president's promises to find out what really happened, it doesn't seem like there's an in-depth investigation underway to get at the truth.
I know from a source in the IRS that people within the IRS have been interviewed by the FBI, though I hear from Tea Party groups that they have not been contacted. Lawyers for the Tea Party and Tea Party groups have yet to hear. So it seems like there is some sort of an FBI investigation happening, though perhaps not an incredibly deep or thorough one.
But lawmakers on Capitol Hill are investigating too, and they've issued subpoenas demanding more information into what they call the inappropriate and disparate treatment of conservative and Tea Party groups.
I have not done anything wrong.
They also reportedly have been negotiating with lawyers for Lois Lerner, who was in charge of the tax-exempt organizations division, but has since resigned. Meanwhile, the legal battles are mounting. The National Organization for Marriage is suing the IRS for publicly disclosing private, protected information about its donors. And the American Center for Law and Justice, representing more than 40 conservative groups in 22 states, has expanded its federal suit, citing evidence that top IRS workers targeted conservative organizations based on their political beliefs. For Johnson, she believes the biggest scandal is the revelation that many officials and agencies who aren't supposed to be involved in politics can't refrain from using their influence against political opponents of the party in power.
Democrats have tried to make this about, was there a White House connection or wasn't it? And if there wasn't a White House connection, then it's not worth investigating and there is no scandal. And that's really not the scandal. The scandal is about the inherent politicization of the federal bureaucracy.
John Jessup, CBN News, Washington.
Jay Sekulow from the American Center for Law and Justice spoke with CBN about the IRS's handling of this situation.
I don't put much trust in what the Department of Justice is doing. The president said what the IRS did here was wrong. He was going to get to the bottom of it. And then 4 weeks later, they were calling it a phony scandal. And the fact that the IRS is going to be coordinating the enforcement of Obamacare has to also raise the concern level significantly. And I think with the unbelievably poor rollout and just horrendous rollout of the Affordable Care Act, which appears to be neither affordable or giving much care, Obamacare with the IRS engagement, that's not a good situation for the American people.
For more of that interview with Jay, visit our website, cbnnews.com.
President Obama is calling for a push to pass immigration reform.
We should pass immigration reform. We should pass immigration reform. It's good for our economy. It's good for our national security. It's good for our people. And we should do it this year. Thank you.
He's asking Congress to pass comprehensive legislation by the end of the year, urging lawmakers to see it as an opportunity to show Americans that government can actually solve problems. The Senate passed a bill in June, but it's been stalled in the House of Representatives. Speaker John Boehner says he believes the House can take action before 2014. However, many House Republicans aren't ready to support the president's plan. No sweeping immigration legislation has been passed since 1986.
Coming up, a look at what's behind a recent rise in anti-Semitism.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the Spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Well, nearly 7 decades after the Holocaust, we now live in a day when anti-Semitism is on the rise. Some even worry another Holocaust is within the realm of possibility.
The most dangerous thing is what could happen again. And I don't see it very fast, very far, or impossible.
Israel has expressed concern over terror groups like Hezbollah possessing missiles that have the ability to hit anywhere inside the Jewish state.
Here to tell us more about the rise of world anti-Semitism is Susanna Kokkonen. She is director of the Christian Friends of Yad Vashem, the National Holocaust Memorial Museum in Jerusalem. Susanna, we have all heard about Iran's threats to wipe Israel off the map, but the chief rabbi of France recently warned that there may be no place for Jews there because of the rise of anti-Semitism. How widespread is this?
Well, one thing that we need to realize is that anti-Semitism is not something like a chapter that began and ended, but it's rather an ongoing thing, something that different crises in economy or politics bring up in different societies at different times. And at this moment, when we hear these warnings from so many different places in the world, we cannot deny that anti-Semitism is widespread. And it exists in places where we might not think that it exists. And therefore, we all need to be fighting it at this time in history.
Anti-Semitism is a terrible chapter in the history of the last 2,000 years and more, like you're saying. But what is fueling this growth in anti-Semitic activity today?
Well, one thing is that anti-Semitism is like a virus that changes its form so that we don't find a vaccination that is effective against it. So all the different forms of anti-Semitism, whether the traditional Christian anti-Semitism or the socio-economic anti-Semitism or even the racial anti-Semitism, they have somehow survived until our day. And so when we speak about rise of anti-Semitism, I would say that it's more that it may have been dormant, but it has never really disappeared. And what is driving it today, we would have to look at the different developments in the world stage, different nations, and we would try to find the motives. But I would say that the most important thing for us is to stand up and fight anti-Semitism, regardless of what the reasons. But we as Christians, we have to stand by the state of Israel today and with the Jewish communities living in our countries.
What can Christians do specifically to help?
Well, I think we need to be educated. And one of the things that Yad Vashem is trying to do is to invite Christians to come and study what are the consequences of anti-Semitism. And we need to fight it together with the Jewish communities. And we need to educate ourselves, and we need to be a voice for the Jewish communities and on their behalf. And I think the greatest thing that Christians can do today is to stand by the state of Israel and even to come to Yad Vashem and study and understand what happens when anti-Semitism is allowed to exist in a society.
All right, Susanna Kokkonen, once again the director of the Christian Friends of Yad Vashem, which is the National Holocaust Memorial Museum in Jerusalem. Susanna, thanks for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Up next, how picking the right pair of shoes could help you take care of your feet.
Stop struggling with heavy hoses that are kinked and deliver little or no water. Or worse, break. Introducing the incredible flexible hose. Turn the water on and it expands up to 3 times its original length, so you can easily guide it anywhere you need without tangling. When you turn the water off, as it drains, the hose retracts back to its original shape. Standard rubber hoses can weigh between 8 and 12 pounds, but a 25-foot flexible hose weighs less than a pound. The flexible hose is so compact and lightweight, a child can manage a 75-foot hose easily. The flexible hose will never kink and is guaranteed to take the mess out of watering your lawn and plants. So washing your windows or spraying off your gutters has never been easier. The flexible hose is made of a tough double wall construction that is designed to bend and stretch but never kink.
Flexible hose is designed like a fire hose for speed, storage, and strength to last a really long time.
Call or visit FlexibleHose.com to order the incredible flexible hose for only $19.95. Call right now and we will include a 7-way adjustable spray nozzle free. You can choose a full action spray, a gentle mist, a powerful jet, a vertical mist, flat spray, a cone spray, or a soaker setting. So stop coiling your hose with bulky devices. Flexible hose automatically retracts in seconds and weighs less than 1 pound. In fact, a 75-foot hose easily fits in a small bucket and stores away neatly in a drawer. Flexible hose saves you precious space on boats and is perfectly portable for RVs. But wait, order today and we'll give you a second flexible hose system free. Just pay separate processing and handling. That's 2 flexible hoses and 2 7-way adjustable spray nozzles, a $40 value, all for only $19.95. This offer is not available in any store. Order now.
To order flexible hose and take advantage of this amazing double offer, call 1-800-769-3384 or go to flexiblehose.com. Remember, this offer is not available in stores, so call now.
Well, get this. Most people will walk some 75,000 miles by the time they're 50. That's like walking 5 times around the earth. Isn't that amazing?
It is. That's incredible. So all of us need to take better care of our feet. And as Jennifer Wishon explains in tonight's Focus Report, that starts with wearing comfortable shoes.
Shoes, glorious shoes. You can't go wrong with the perfect pair of shoes. The right color and style can make you feel like a star. Put on the wrong pair and it's sheer agony.
I keep the extra heels at work. Yeah, I have 2 pairs of heels in a drawer.
The average American woman owns 17 pairs of shoes, but only wears 3 pairs on a regular basis.
I think I own 25 pairs. Maybe around 15?
The average man also owns about 17 pairs.
I think 13 pairs.
But not everyone can walk into a store and buy shoes off the rack.
Being comfortable, appropriate for work, and somewhat stylish, all 3, and then in a size 11, it's hard to find.
Such was the case for shoe designer Anya Liu. She had the opposite problem, finding shoes in her size, a 3.5. The former DuPont engineer and dancer started her multi-million-dollar company 8 years ago.
My sister called me the day before her wedding and says, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go buy me a pair of shoes.
And even though her sister already had a pair of shoes, she could only wear them for a total of 15 minutes max. But some women choose fashion over sensibility and eventually end up here, in the office of Dr. Jennifer Purvis, a podiatrist in Northern Virginia.
I tell people who have foot problems, put your tennis shoe or your sandal on while you're getting ready in the morning and maybe even when you're driving to church, and then change into your shoe before you walk in.
Most people will walk some 75,000 miles by the time they're 50. That's like walking around the earth 5 times.
The foot and ankle is a very complex structure. There's 26 bones plus dozens of ligaments and tendons.
The most common problems? Pain in the heel, arch, and ball of the foot, tendon issues in the ankles, bunions, hammer toes, and finally, toenails, ingrown and otherwise. And we make these worse by wearing the wrong shoes.
There's a problem called pump bump, where the shoe actually can rub on the back of the heel.
If you have fallen arches, you'll need more support than the typical flat shoe, flip-flop, or sandal may give. And what about those painful bunions and hammer toes? They're usually hereditary, but
we tend to do things to our feet, such as squeeze them into pointy-toed shoes or pretty high heels.
If you must wear a dress shoe, look for one with a heel that's 2 inches or less. If you walk a lot, choose for comfort, such as a sneaker that gives you nice arch support. An orthotic in your shoe is always an option.
There's nothing worse than walking around in an uncomfortable pair of shoes, no matter how cute they are. But trends are changing, and that's good news for your feet.
It's not just the type of situation where you just go make a shoe and put cushioning in it, and also it's comfortable.
You probably have to pay a little bit more for the shoes, but there's definitely some very cosmetically appealing shoes that patients would be embarrassed to walk around in that still give good support for the foot.
Which brings us back to designer Anya Liu. The thought of wearing orthopedic shoes can be devastating. Her goal? To create shoes that look as good as they feel. A style she calls couture comfort.
I am my own demographics. I serve women just like me and like you. We engineers, we solve problems. If we can send men walking on the moon, how can we not have a collection of shoes for women that we can look chic?
Liu wants to empower women and tell them they can look good and feel good at the same time. And that's something that retailers want to pass on to their customers.
Women look far more beautiful when they walk comfortably in a shoe than when they're tottering because it's uncomfortable.
And people are taking note.
I'm trying to be stylish, but I think now comfort is my priority.
And if you ever need a little pick-me-up, always remember,
if you want to forget all of life's troubles, wear tight shoes. We all have much more important things to think about, so keep your feet comfortable and healthy.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
Or go barefoot. All right, up next, a Miami police officer goes beyond the call of duty to help a struggling single mom.
From CBN.
Broken Eardrum is playing at the Civic tonight.
And you'll just have to miss it.
This is so incredibly unfair.
A special story of love and sacrifice.
Joy, Mom comes up with something.
Christopher Quantum.
You and I are going to discuss your attitude right this minute. Superbook!
Join the Superbook DVD Club and get Superbook's newest episode, He is Risen, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of $25.
They have arrested Jesus, the Messiah. Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you?
No! Please! You can't! They've taken him to Golgotha. We must hurry. Mary is about to lose her son. The worst thing any mother could face. I am not leaving her.
Superbook. It's an amazing way to build a strong spiritual foundation in the children you love.
Mary, who are you looking for?
I've seen him! He is alive!
Superbook. He is Risen. Available now.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
And finally, what would you do if you had no money to buy food for your family?
A broke single mother of 3 in Florida felt she had no choice but to steal food from a supermarket. As Jessica Robles was leaving with a cart full of unpaid-for groceries, Officer Vicki Thomas arrived on the scene. What Officer Thomas did next surprised everyone.
I made the decision to buy her some groceries because arresting her wasn't going to solve the problem with her children being hungry. To see them go through the bags when we brought them in, and it was like Christmas.
All I wanted to tell her is thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, wow.
Jessica is now going to a local food bank while looking for work. She says when she gets back on her feet, she will bless others the way Officer Vicki Thomas blessed her. Wow.
Yeah, that really warms my heart. That was the way to handle that, you know?
Yeah.
Good for that officer.
Change that lady's heart, too, as well.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, have a good night.